We're catching up today with Admirals goaltender Devin Cooley. Cools, good to see you. You're in Boston as we're speaking. What's going on in Boston?
Yep. Boston's where I do all my training. So I've been here in the summer times for the past like 6-7 years. I work with Stop at Goaltending out here, where I skate, do yoga, work out, do vision training. And yeah.
How do you find out about a place like that? 6-7 years. So you're what, 17, 18 when you first hear about this place, or when you start attending this camp or this school, this workout program?
So when I was, my first year of juniors, I played in Muskegon in the USHL, and my goalie partner was Joey DeCord. He's with Seattle right now. And his dad is Brian DeCord. He's the one who runs the camps here. And growing up, I never really had, much goalie coaching. And so at the end of my first year of juniors, Joey's like, hey, like, you should come to my dad's camp. Puts on the summertime, like, we'd love to have you. And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So I went for that summer, and it was great. I loved it. So I've just been coming back ever since, and it's worked out so far.
So up until that point, you kind of got used to everything just by being an athlete, I suppose, huh? For the most part.
Yeah. I think, especially in youth hockey and stuff, like I think I had a lot of natural ability, so you can kind of get away with it in youth. But once you get to the higher levels and USHL and college and all that, everybody has some sort of natural ability. And then it's about, the technical side of the game. And I really lacked any sort of technical structure. I was just kind of winging the entire thing. So I think Joey and his dad saw that, and like, here's a kid with size and some natural ability. Like, he just needs to be polished and refined. So they brought me on board, and yeah, it's been great.
It's interesting with goalies. I know of goalie coaches who used to break guys down completely and build them in. He had a mold, and he had one mold, and that's how you were going to play. And I know guys who try to build up, but with you, you were, forgive the term, a lump of clay. Like, they could really work with you. Everything was kind of new, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when I was first being interviewed and talking with the goalie guys with Nashville, that was one of the things that they actually liked, was that here's a kid who just has a lot of natural ability and a good work ethic, and we can kind of turn him into what we want to. So I think there was a lot of positives, but I also think, if I had maybe a little bit more structure, I wouldn't have struggled so much in my junior career. Maybe it would have been a little bit of an earlier bloomer for sure.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being a late bloomer. Look what it's gotten you, right? I mean,
absolutely, yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, and here you are, and you got the opportunity you started the season opener, and you finished the season pretty much for the Admirals in the playoffs. And I'm curious, and you and I have talked about this many times, but you've had a couple of months now to reflect on your first full, real one place pro season kind of thing. What was it like to play the 76 game schedule and go through everything you did this year?
It was great. I mean, it was an awesome experience. I love Milwaukee. I love all the coaching staff. I loved the whole organization, and I actually really enjoyed my time. And I think it was a great learning experience too. Obviously, I think I struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year and had some growing pains and stuff, but it was great to work through those and get stronger mentally and physically, and get used to the speed of the game and adjust. And I think all the hard work that I put in throughout the year kind of showed towards the end of the year and in playoffs.
You mentioned Joey DeCord and his dad. I mean, who do you lean on? Connor Ingram, guys you've played with. Dave Rook is around a fair amount of time, the goalie coach. I mean, who do you lean on when you say you're struggling and you're having a rough time? Where do you go? Where does your head go?
For me, it's basically just goes right back to work. Like, there is, like, if things aren't going well, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing that you can't complain, really. And so for me, it was just like, hey, just like, don't complain, put your head down, just work as hard as you possibly can, and if you're doing everything right, eventually things will hopefully turn around. And if they don't turn around, then it's not meant to be. But at least, in my mind, I knew that I was doing everything I possibly could to succeed. So I had that peace of mind. And yeah, that's pretty much, all I go to. I just try to work as hard as I possibly can and hope things turn around. And then again, if they don't turn around, at least I can say, I did everything, I possibly could.
Right. And we saw that with you this year. And that's one, if there was anything that really stood out, one thing more than anything was everybody said your work ethic constantly. I mean, and that's That's a tribute to you. And like you said, that's one thing you can control. That's one thing that I think other people respect and observe, and they know you're doing the work. So it's not for lack of that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I've been like that the majority of my career, and it's Larry for those exact reasons because I've had a lot of slumps in my career. I've had a lot of struggles and stuff. I've been cut. I've finished last place in stats in certain years, and it's I figured out that there's nothing else that you can do. You can't complain. You can't look to blame anybody else. And there's so much stuff that you can't control as a goalie. And so Larry, you just want to control everything that you can. And there's a peace of mind in that too, because going into a game, I'm not like, I wish I did more reps, or I feel like I didn't do enough in practice, blah blah. And then all of a sudden you start overthinking, like maybe I didn't prepare, maybe I don't deserve this. For me, it's like, okay, like I did everything I could to prepare for this game. If things don't go right, at least I know it's not because I didn't put in the work.
I'm curious for a goalie, for you specifically, because the way your season ended, you were seeing 45 to 60 shots a night. Bumps and bruises are going to happen, pulled muscles, all of these things that go on during a regular season and a playoff push. I'm curious where you're working now. Do they have pucks out on the ice, or right now is it mostly stretching and non-puck type of drills? Or do you even want to see pucks right now?
Yeah, I mean, so this is I just finished my second full week of training here in Boston, and I kind of jumped right into it. But I'm a little bit more of a like I want to be skating, I want to be working all the time, I want to be doing a lot. And they have this camp here. It's called GCG Prospects event, and it's a whole week long thing where it's every day. You get up at like 7:30, you don't get back home until like 4:30. You're on the ice for 2 hours a day. You have yoga sessions, workout sessions, presentations where you just learn about the game, where you go over video. So I did that for the whole last week, and then the week before it's pretty similar schedules for every day, Monday through Thursday. You're working out, you're skating, you're doing some yoga, some mobility work, and then a little bit of vision training. And that's just kind of how I've always been in the summertime. Again, I think it kind of goes back to that work ethic where like I feel like I need to be doing a lot, and I know like this is what's going to prepare me the best. But I know other guys who like to take things a little bit slower and build those good habits and make sure that their body's like prepared to before they jump right into things. But I just
what does vision training include? I remember hearing years ago, Greg Jeffries was a baseball player. And I remember hearing stories about his dad would throw baseballs in the dark with different colors on them, and he had to say which colors they were.
Yeah.
What is it for a goaltender? What are you going through with that?
Oh, there's tons of stuff. So Stop It has they have this cool thing, company that they work with called the G Lab. And within the G Lab, they have like a ton of different exercises and light boards and stuff. And with these light boards and all these different machines, there's all these different types of games that you can play. They keep track of your scores, and there's like a million different exercises. So one is like, it's called like Minefield, where it's like this massive light board and like these little like squares pop up. And then over time, those squares go from green to red all the way to a point where they explode. And you basically have to tap all of them before they explode and try to get as many as you can.
It's like a crazy whack-a-mole.
Yeah, exactly like that. And so there's tons of little machines and little games just like that. They all do different things and work different muscles and stuff. And then with myself, I do a bunch of juggling and other hand-eye stuff. I have light boards that I have that work on muscles from seeing like your peripherals back into like being focused, so like from tracking a puck to like tracking other players around the rink. Just a bunch of different random little exercises that can hopefully improve your game.
The end of the season, how long was the exhale at the end of the season, and how difficult was it to go home, to pack your things and go home after losing? And then the third part, is there any comfort in knowing that the Admirals lost to the eventual champion, the Chicago Wolves, in the playoffs?
Yeah, obviously
guys you knew very well, by the way.
Yeah. Leaving sucks. I hate taking time off. Like I think the worst thing about playing hockey is like taking a bunch of time off and then having to get back into it again. So like last week I hated it because I felt out of shape. I felt like I wasn't good, on the ice. So that I really don't like taking a lot of time off. But it was good to go back home. I went back home to San Francisco area and got to see my family and stuff. And then I actually spent a couple weeks in Europe with my little brother. So that was great. Just let the body heal and reset a little bit. But yeah, losing obviously sucks. Like I thought we could have beaten the Wolves, and I think most guys in the room thought we could have done it. But if we're gonna lose anybody, I'm glad it's the team that went all the way. They're a great team, and they were definitely tough to play against.
So you're off season, you were a restricted free agent, and restricted is the operative word there, but how nice was it to get that taken care of and move on? I got to imagine that's something you don't want hanging around too long.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nice. Obviously, it's always great to have a job.
Right.
And I love I love Nashville's organization. I love Milwaukee. I'm really happy to be coming back.
Well, and looking forward to it. So now the rest of the off season, what is the plan? Do you stay there for another couple of weeks and then it's a week off and then you're down in, I mean, my goodness, we're almost to training camp here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be here until August 10th. And then I'll spend a Wednesday through a Sunday back home. We'll do one more weekend at home, see family and stuff. And then from there, I'm planning on Nashville, and then I'll just be in Nashville until, whenever.
So your hopes for the season, how do you build upon the way you finished last season?
It's basically just, continuing to work and just, be proud of what I did and what I accomplished, but knowing that there's still another level that I can get to, and there's still a lot more to improve on. And so basically it's, take that with a grain of salt and be thankful for the experience, and then, just continue to build and continue to work off the ice and on the ice and continue to get better as an athlete.
I'm curious. I've asked a couple of other guys this, and I'll finish with this here. Free agency. Do you get involved at all with other players? Do you recruit? Do they call you and ask what it's like? Things like that. Does anything like that ever happen?
No, I've had one guy reach out who asked me about Milwaukee and stuff, and that was about it. But other than that, it's pretty much everyone's kind of just watching and waiting and trying to figure out their own career and their own contracts.
You look at what Nashville has done here, Niederreiter and the players they've signed to come to Milwaukee and stuff like that. It's kind of an exciting time. There's no doubt the team is going to be very different, whether it's here in Milwaukee. But at the same time, change is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I've only had 2 full pro seasons now, but I think what I've that every year looks so different, and people get swapped in and out all the time, and so you kind of expect that, and it's really exciting because you're really excited to meet the new faces and hopefully start a relationship with them, and hopefully get some good chemistry going and have a really solid team for next year.
Cool. It's great to see you. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and hopefully we'll see you sometime in the near future.
Yeah, thank you. Great to see you too.
All right, that's Admirals goaltender Devin Cooley.